Chapter 5 Natural Youth and Growth of the Quendi. This text is written in black nib pen in a rather ornate hand on the four sides of 2 sheets of unlined paper. It dates from c. 1959. The text itself, until it reaches the table of mortal equivalences of elvish ages, closely follows the beginning of the text presented here as Chapter 12, concerning the Quendi in their mode of life and growth below. Youth of the Quendi. When the Quendi were very young in Arda, approximately their first 6 generations in the first 96 Valiant years of their existence, they were far more like men, unfallen. Footnote 1. Tolkien replaced the original 1000 VY with 96 Valiant years in the act of writing, with the unfallen state of elves, cf. Chapter 6, The Awakening of the Quendi, and 12, Concerning the Quendi in their mode of life and growth below. See also The Fall of Man in Appendix 1. End footnote. Their Heroar were in great vigor and dominant, and the delights of the body of all kinds were their chief concern. Their Fëar were only beginning to wake fully and to grow and discover their powers and interests. Thus, as was indeed at first necessary, and so ordained for them, they were far more concerned with love in the begetting of children than was so later. The begetting of children also was less exhausting to their youth in the earliest generations. It was not, however, their natural span of growth and life that was different, at least not until many ages had passed, but they used it differently. The natural life of the Quendi was to grow rapidly for them to puberty, and then to endure in full vigor for a great length of years, until the interests of their Fëar became preeminent and their Heroar began to wane. The ages of Quendi are usually given in terms equated with human life, but not all lengths of years had the same aging effect upon the Quendi. The Eld are distinguished between growth in life or life endurance. The former was 12 times as rapid in aging effect as the latter. Now as for growth, this affected the elvish Heroa from conception until maturity or puberty. The life endurance rate of the Quendi was as 1 yen is to 1 loa or sun year, that is, 144 to human 1. The growth rate was 12 times as rapid, i.e. was only in proportion 12 loa equals 1 human loa or sun year. Thus, from conception to birth, they lay in the womb 9 loa. When born, they continue to grow at the same rate until puberty. With elf males, this was reached at age 24, but with elf females at age 18. Concerning this difference, the Eldar speak in the legend, which they call the Awakening, Kuive, and asterisk. Footnote 2. With the Awakening, cf. Chapter 8, Eldarin Traditions concerning the awakening below. End footnote. That is for males 24 times 12 after birth, or 288 loar. For females 18 times 12, or 216 loar. In early ages, this coming of age was a matter of ceremony at which an elf's Esekilme, or personal chosen name, was announced. Footnote 3. For more on the Esekilme, chosen name, or name choosing, also spelled Esekilme, and its attendant ceremony, CX 214 FF, and footnote. But except in the first 3 generations, the begetting of children by elf men did not usually follow immediately on attaining age 24, though betrothal often did, or even marriage. It was by degrees postponed until soon age 48 became regarded as the optimum age for the beginning of fatherhood, though it was often delayed until 60 as see 24 years of growth plus 36 life years. Footnote 4. This sentence originally ended at fatherhood, but was extended by a marginal insertion in black nib pen. This insertion originally ended. It was seldom if ever delayed beyond age before it was struck through. A later insertion in red ballpoint above until soon age 48 became regarded as, and subsequently struck through, appears to read, not by life year but by growth year, by 12, 24, 48. The idea is perhaps that the postponement resulted from an increase in the number of growth years in the elder. End footnote. Of course, begetting of further children could happen later than this. It could occur up to about a male age of 96. Later than this age, 96, a first begetting seldom occurred. Footnote 5. As first written, this sentence began, it could occur up to about a male age of 192, though it did not usually occur much after age 96. Next, the figure 192 was crossed through, and calculations added in the line above that read 24 plus 144, 168-year period, 18 plus 144, or 162. Subsequently, these calculations and everything between 192 through after age were heavily struck through. The sentence originally ended, seldom if ever occurred. End footnote. In the case of elf women, marriage and childbearing took place earlier, the first child being born before they were of age 20. Cross in the earliest generations, and cross note. Footnote 6. As first written, this sentence ended, not seldom before they were of age 20. The words not seldom were heavily deleted and replaced with sometimes, which was also then struck through. End footnote. Later indeed, some postponement was usual, so that marriage at 21 was the most usual time, though at any age up to 36, or 18 plus 18, was not uncommon. Footnote 7. This sentence is given as first written despite subsequent cross-throughs and additions, because the alterations do not seem to have been carried through to completion to form a coherent revision. The words indeed some postponement were lightly crossed through, and a rough note added above them reading so far as I can now determine the date of first birth, and the words past growth were added above the word usual at apparently the same time. Finally, the words at 21 were struck through, but with no replacement or harmonization with the rest of the sentence supplied. End footnote. In days of trouble, or of travel and unsettled life, the begetting of children was naturally avoided or postponed, and since the postponement especially of the first child bearing or begetting prolonged the youth or physical vigor of the Quendi, this might occur up to a female age of about 72 or 18 plus 54, but the first child bearing seldom occurred after this age 72. Footnote 8. As first written, this sentence ended. This could quite well be done up to an age of 144, 162 at latest, but the first childbearing seldom occurred after age 72, 90, and footnote. These states in early ages, at any rate, with which we are concerned, were not so much matters of physical impossibility as of will or desire. As soon as they were full grown, and with increasing rapidity after age 48, the elf men and 36 elf women, the Fea and its interests began to gain the upper hand. An elf who had not become married, or at least found one desired a spouse, footnote 9, the words one desired a spouse were altered in the act of writing from a desired wife, apparently a false start for wife. End footnote. By these states was likely, in normal circumstances, to remain single, though naturally in troublous times, when lovers or spouses might be long separated, marriage might well occur much later, or childbearing be long postponed. The number of children produced by a married pair was naturally partly affected by the character of the persons concerned, mental and physical, and partly by various accidents of life. But it was also much affected by the age at which marriage began. Even in the earliest times, after the first elves, more than 6 children was very rare, and 4 soon became the normal average. But 6 was never attained by those marrying after 48 or 36. In later marriages too was more usual. For chronological purposes and comparison of elves and men, these states may be exhibited so An elf years, an elf child conceived was born 9 lower later. Elvish growth age about 9 months, actual time 9 mortal years. The growth age of 12 to 1 in comparison with mortal years was maintained until an elf man reached age 24, actual time 288 mortal years. In case of women, it usually ceased at 18, though it was sometimes continued, especially in Amman, to 21, actual time 216 years or 252. At age 48, therefore, an elf man was 288 lower plus 24 yen, or 288 plus 3456. Footnote 10. Tolkien did in fact write the apparently singular form yen in each case. End footnote. Actual time 3,744 mortal years. At age 96, therefore, an elf man was 288 lower plus 72 yen, or 10,656 mortal years. At age 192, therefore, an elf man was 288 lower plus 168 yen, or 24,480 years. At age 21, therefore, an elf woman was 216 lower plus 3 yen, or 216 plus 432, or 648 mortal years. At age 36, therefore, an elf woman was 216 lower plus 18 yen, or 2,808 years. At age 72, therefore, an elf woman was 216 lower plus 54 yen, or 7,992 years. At age 144, therefore, an elf woman was 216 lower plus 126 yen, or 18,360 years. At all times, unless circumstances interfered and separation were forced upon spouses by words or exile, the Quendi desired to dwell in company with husband or wife during the bearing of a child and its early growth. Also, as a rule, they preferred to arrange their lives so as to have a consecutive time of the children in which all of their children were born, but this, of course, often, especially in the troubled early years, proved impossible. Footnote 11, CFX 213, and footnote. After a birth, even if a consecutive onalume, or time of children, was achieved, a rest was naturally always taken. This was governed by growth time, and so was usually not less than 12 lower, equals 1 growth year, but it might be much more, and usually was increased progressively between each birth for consecutive series as 12, 24, 36, 48, etc.